Hello there everyone, today's video is all about termination payments and an example of how a bit of knowledge on certain things can be a dangerous thing. And in this case, even an employer with a finance director and trained tax advisors didn't get it right. It's a very interesting case which also interlinks with child benefits. So what was it all about? Well, this was an individual who worked for a company and she was basically not fit to work, and she had a PHI policy. Some of you will be familiar with that, permanent health insurance. And what this PHI policy did, it paid out basically so that she was paid out to the employer who had it. So she was getting paid, but she wasn't doing any work, right? This insurance policy paid out, so the employer wasn't basically footing the cost of that. It paid these payments to her. So technically she was still on the books, but she wasn't doing any work. And after a while, they said, look, come on, let's just draw a line under this. Let's just agree, mutual agreement that they would part company with this particular person. So she would no longer be an employee. So at that point, they said, right, well, let's just pay you some money. What do we owe you? Some holiday pay, some severance. We'll give you a lump sum in lieu of the fact there'll be no more further payments from this PHI policy. So they said, look, we're going to give you this payment. And they said, right, this is the employer. They said, we're going to deduct 30 grand off that. And again, it comes back to this point. A little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing. So a lot of people are, I would suggest, familiar with the fact that in certain circumstances, the first 30 grand of a severance payment is tax-free for the recipients. However, only in certain circumstances. And in recent years, actually, the rules have tightened up on this. So there are now fewer circumstances which qualify for that 30 grand exemption than there were several years ago. So listen, if you're in the situation and you are going to leave an employment and there's talk of a payout, for goodness sake, make sure that you seek professional advice, because it's all about what it says in terms of the contract or the termination agreement. The wording of that will drive the tax thereon. And it could be something that you thought you'd get the first 30 grand tax-free. You don't. Anyway, I digress. Back to this court case. So, woman, parted company, not fit to work with the employer. They paid her out. They deducted the 30 grand tax-free and withheld some PAYE on the remainder. And what caught HMRC's attention was not only that they look at these things generally, these termination payments, but it also, that income that she received on the payout tripped her over 50 grand income. And not only is 50 grand the limit that when higher rate tax kicks in, but crucially, it's also when you get clawed back child benefit. She was in receipt of child benefit, and you exceed an income of more than 50 grand, and that is clawed back. So HMRC basically said, you received all this, this should be clawed back. Thank you very much. We want to claw back the child benefit that we've paid you. She basically disagreed, and she said, you know what? Actually, both my employer and HMRC have got it wrong, because what I have actually received is a termination payment due to disability. And termination payments due to disability, not only is the first 30 grand tax-free, the whole lot is tax-free. So she went to the tribunal with this, armed with this research, which is that's what it says in the HMRC rules. Not many people were aware of it. Certainly her employer wasn't, because they withheld the 30 grand like most or a great deal of termination payments. You withhold 30 grand. Like I said, though, the devil's in the detail. And most, I would suggest 9 out of 10 times, people withhold the 30 grand when they shouldn't have done. This is the opposite, where they actually shouldn't have withheld anything, and she should have got the whole thing tax-free. And the tribunal upheld that decision and said, yes, this is a payment that you received is a disability termination payment and no tax should have been paid on it. Not just the first 30 grand tax-free for the lot. And it doesn't count towards income that trips you over the crucial 50 grand stage where the child benefit is clawed back. So it was a win-win for this taxpayer. Not only did she not have to repay the child benefit, but she also got some PAYE back because her employer had only given her a 30 grand tax-free slice instead of on the lot. So just an important court case there, but just emphasizes, particularly on termination payments, it's not always, hey, 30 grand tax-free. It's not always the case because it's a little bit more involved in that. And every case is unique. All the circumstances are different. What was the payment actually for? Was it in lieu of this or that or all sorts of things? And crucially, what goes on that agreement that the employee signs before they get paid, that will drive the tax payment. So you've got to get professional advice to review that so you actually end up getting taxed how you think you're going to get taxed, and even what you've agreed with your employer. So just an overview there on a court case on termination payments. If you like this video, please do subscribe, and as always, I'll see you soon.